going on, everybody? It's your boy Rockman 3K3, and I'm back again for another great episode of the Nerd Plate. I'm one half of the Nerd Plate around this time, as you already know. My boy Chris, aka the Locksane, aka C Real, aka Go Heezy. He is out because he is raising his second kid, being a real father out here. Congratulations to him. Give it up for him. Give it up for him. Give it up for him. But while he's away, man, I'm introducing and I'm bringing on a lot of cool guests you may have seen on our show before, and you may see some new people. But this particular person is not new. Let me tell you something. This guy's out here. He is talking about all of the great nerd stratosphere stuff. We talked about he did a whole show on Naomi, did a whole show on Titans. He did a whole show called What We Watch, or We Watch This. I'm sorry, bro. And like, it was great. I was on there for one, and all the movies they watch are just amazing. You might have seen him on the BYNK Network podcast with his multitude podcasts. Let me tell you something. I have 2 podcasts. This guy has like 2 a day kind of thing. We talking about millions of podcasts out here. He is the one and only, the great, the astonishing, the amazing, the spectacular Rhayne Coleman, the Carefree Black Nerd. Rhayne, come on up in here. What's going on, bro?
Nothing. I don't know if I can live up to that intro, man.
Oh, come on, man.
I don't know. Yeah.
Listen, man, you know I had to do it for my peoples out here, man. Y'all doing extraordinary things, man. I appreciate y'all sitting down to even want to talk to me. So, you know, hey, man, just thank you. You know, so I had to do it right. You know, when I introduce y'all, I'm like, hey, coming to the stage. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that's what it is. It's major out here. It's major.
Okay.
So, of course, before we get into it, brother, tell us how you doing, how you feel, and tell the people where they can see all your great work, Rhayne. Because you know you got a whole catalog. I'm trying to catch up to your catalog. You know what I'm saying? So please let the people know.
That catalog ain't nothing but insomnia nights. No, no good. I'm Twitter, Carefree Black Nerd everywhere else, but the Carefree Black Nerd podcast is my claim to fame. It is the representation hill that I live and die on. I have countless shows, as you alluded to. I got review shows. I got regular character reviews. I got
great shows. Go listen and watch them. Oh my God, killer! I love it.
Yeah, man. I try.
That's what's up. And of course, you know, I'm starting Rhayne because you know we out here, we black nerds. We just black nerd and free out here. Tell me, when is the first time you really fell in love with nerdism? Just like, because I know you into like a lot of what we into, like comic books, video games, things like that. But what was like really the first time you really fell in love with, like, because I know your big love is like comics and that kind of nerd stratosphere. When's the first time you really fell in love with that, bro? Tell us about that.
I don't know. I know I was a kid. I don't know. I think it just was a part of life. Like from like watching Saturday morning cartoons and being a kid and that being like our water cooler talk on Monday mornings and throughout the day. And then like, you know, with stuff, live action stuff like the Power Rangers, like there's this very, I don't know, like with the 90s, I feel like the nerdness that we have now was just baked into the culture of being a kid.
Very powerful. Very powerful,
like,
bro. Because
now it's not like that. Like now you have to, at least from where I'm sitting, you have to like seek out these things. Like there's no Saturday morning cartoons. There is no like there's cartoons, but you got a streaming service for every day of the week and then some. So I'd have to say it was always there, but I'd probably say like 3rd grade because I feel like Power Rangers is the thing that like got me obsessed. Like I watched cartoons. And
who wasn't a Power Rangers fan, bro? Like Power Rangers was so. I don't know if it was just the perfect storm of weirdness or just America first really getting into the Sentai series, but like, yo, that was just such a whirlwind of excellence for little kids, nerds, and it made us, man. It just stayed with us since kids.
Absolutely. No, yeah. So, I'd have to say what's that, probably about 9 years old, 8, 9 years old, something like that. So it had to be back then. Had to be that elementary school days, man.
Dude, now, Rhayne, so you have reviewed and talked about so much stuff out there in the nerd culture. Like, again, my hat's off to you. I take my headphones off, but I need them right now. But tell me, in your opinion, as a person, especially on Carefree Black Nerd, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I said that right. Okay. I want to make sure I get that right. You know, say Carefree Black Nerd.
Yeah.
Especially on Carefree Black Nerd, what do you think has been like your favorite subject that you've delved into so far when you do the show?
Dang, that's pretty hard, man, because I like all of my shows. They're all my children, all 300 plus of them. But my favorite...
Salute.
It's really hard. So do you mean favorite episode, or favorite series, or like what? Because
you can kind of, you know what? That's a good. Okay, we're gonna split it. Do both, because I want your favorite episode, and then what's your favorite series of all time?
I don't know. I would say for sure for the favorite series, it would have to be Black Lightning Matters. Because I did that show with Cole Jackson of BYNK Radio fame. And like Cole is one of my best friends. And like this, seeing him every week and like checking in, talking about this like god awful, but also like extremely bad show, like ranting and raving and having these like think piece as like conversations. It has to be Black Lightning Matters. That was probably my favorite.
That was magic. I gotta say, I think the only other thing now is just like, yo, I fucks with this heavy was the Titan hunts. That was because like Titan, just that's my shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but
that was fun.
Y'all would end on Black like that was especially if anybody knows Cole Jackson, like that dude. When you get him on the red, it's magical. It's
yes, oh absolutely, yeah, and that's like, man, he is so freaking amazing, man. Like everything
he is very intelligent.
Is very so thought out and so intentional. Like, man, oh my god, yeah. So it would have to be Black Lightning Matters for sure, just for doing that with him. Like, we could have talked about Barbies, you know, or
right. And it's crazy because Cole Jackson knows. So both of y'all, like for any, if y'all have not seen any of Rhayne Coleman's Carefree Black Nerd, please go watch it, because Cole will take you on. So Cole Jackson will take you on because he knows so much about DC. But Rhayne is like an expert when it comes to the comics. Like, in fact, I'm gonna come back to Rhayne. Whatever, just Rhayne. I'm thinking of this comic where this happened, and Rhayne will probably be able to tell me. But like, they just go into so much detail about Black Lightning and just how, like, all right, this other show portrays him. This is how you know the good young Titans is portraying him, and this is how he was in the comics. It was just hilarious. It just y'all talking about the love jockey stuff, and it's hilarious, man.
No, absolutely. So I agree.
Such a great show.
I don't know about a favorite episode. I don't know. Well, actually, no, I do. It's a 2-part, which is one I did with another friend of mine, my homegirl JJ. She is very smart. I mean, degree down, smarter than I could ever hope to be. And we dissected the movie Master, and I combined these two because our recording was so long that I had to chop it up into 2. There's no way anyone's listened to a 4-hour long podcast. So I had to kind of chop it down, but I'm gonna say, and it was my 100th episode, was my 100 and 101st episode, and I'm
gonna have to see that one.
It's we really dissect, and she's an academic, like that is her area of expertise, is like academia, higher education, and whatnot. And for me, it was like, I got my little thoughts, my little nerd thoughts, but she was like this in the trenches,
breaking it down,
and I was like. That's amazed. Dope. So that I would definitely say her, because we both had thoughts about the movie and portrayal of Black women in academia, but like her dissecting and giving, I definitely have to be episodes 100 and 101 combined as my favorite episode. Got it.
Okay, awesome. I'm definitely gonna check that, because I hadn't seen Master yet. I've seen it on Amazon. I'm like, I need to watch it. I keep saying I need to watch it, and I never do. So I'm gonna get to it. And as soon as I watch that, I'm watching that episode, because y'all be going off on the reviews, man. I'll be like, I never thought of that. Like, that's crazy, you know.
Man.
So That's brilliant. That's awesome. Okay, so here's my next question. Now, I was going to ask you about. You spoke of Cole Jackson. I was going to ask you about that. How is it working with him in the BYNK family? Like, tell me about that.
It's fun. Like, it's fun to a fault. Where like you can look up and find yourself on a call like 4 or 5 hours later. It started off as like a 30-minute podcast.
Right.
Like, you hit record, you hit end, save, and then hey, it's bedtime. Like, all right, we gotta go.
Right.
So it's fun. It's a fun time every time. Even when we disagree on stuff, it's always such a fun time because like arguing with him.
Oh, it's amazing.
We go at it. So
look, you just gotta put a little bit of blood in the water, and the sharks just come on in. That's it.
Yeah, man. No, but he's so cool, and the whole team is like freaking amazing. Like I don't know, man. I don't know like how I got to be so lucky. Like if I could be sentimental, but like this is such a phenomenal team. Like everybody is strong in their own regard, and then like when you get together, do a crossover, be it one episode, be it a series, or even like a team meeting. Hey, what's next on the plate? It's like I don't know. It's what the feeling I get with them is what jobs want you to feel when they say we're a family.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's you already know it's a lot, but when you get that natural feel, that gel, it's just like nothing can,
Absolutely.
So, yeah, man, that's hilarious. Okay, cool. And then so here's my next question. Now, you've talked about a lot of things. I was even on one of your shows. I was graced. You're gracious enough to invite me on. I was like, oh man, I'm here. And that was fun sitting down with you, Cole Jackson, talking about Blade. Because man, again, people don't give Blade their flowers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What subjects upcoming are you really going to focus on within this next? Well, actually, no. Wait. Before I get to that question, I do have a question for you. How do you feel about CW just being like, fuck the Arrowverse? Like, we done. Like, what was, bruh? It was like, I want to say that, like, it's Discovery's fault. But even before Discovery's coming in, they were just kind of like, hey, you could go, and you could go, and you could go. And then when Discovery got there, it's just like, everybody can go. You know what I'm saying? Except for Superman and Lois, I think, right now. How do you feel? Because you follow that really closely. How do you feel about
it? A lot of it I did. I truly gave up caring. Mainly because CW is just the product of WB and UPN. And CW has, again, built its programming off the backs of Black folks.
Exactly. Yep. That's it. That's all we need. Count it. Call me.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate because I wasn't an Arrowverse stan. I watched a few shows, but there are a lot of people who follow things closely, and I feel like you can't please everyone, but that ending could have happened much more smoothly than it did. And I don't know if that's a bigger conversation for like DC extended universe and how they're handling things, or if it's specifically a CW
or
thing.
The lack thereof, but
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But I don't know. I just think it's unfortunate. There are a lot of people who I'm sure out of a job, and a lot of fans who are out of their programming. And the CW really kind of went downhill. But my thing is like that's to be expected. It's like a renaissance. We had all these Black shows back in the 90s when it was UPN.
Homeboys in Space, Freedom, anything we can just throw at the board. You know what I'm saying? The Parkers were just out there. It was like, damn.
I don't know. You just got to wait for them to lose more money again and then decide that, okay, now which minority are we going to attach ourselves to and try to, those Black folks, nerds, are we going to circle back to Black folks, maybe Latin people, or, they're going for that traditional
We're going to have that Latin Black fusion that we have sometimes, you know what I'm saying? We got the 4 roommate situation.
Listen, when you see a whole bunch of telenovela style shows that's like whitewashed with that CW sheen, you'll know. That's what we got.
You know it's coming. It's coming.
Y'all get ready.
Get ready.
So where's the Carefree Black Nerd?
They want looking. They're like, not yet.
Right.
Something top, yeah. But because look, I knew it was coming when I saw the Mayans on FX. I was like, oh damn, they went from Southern Africa to Mayans. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy, man. So yeah, okay. So now I move to my question because I've been meaning to one. Like I'm so glad we have this interview because I wanted to ask you that. Like, man, what do you think of the CW shit? Because like when they were finally about to release, was it not Batwoman, but I think Batgirl, and I was like, okay, cool. And then that was just like, thanks. You know, it was just like, what the fuck? And then they're like, oh yeah, we're not even gonna put it on HBO Max. I'm like, you can at least release what you got. And they were just like, nah, we don't want to do that. I was like,
the whole movie you made, but nah, okay.
Nah, just throw that away. That's crazy. All right, so my next thing was, so in the future for the next few steps of your shows, because you know you're gonna put out so many shows, I already feel it. What do you think, or you know, without revealing too much to us, and I know I can't reveal too much of how the sausage is made, what's next for the Carefree Black Nerd? Like, what are some of the conversations you're eager to jump into in the next few, you know, months, next year? What are y'all about to tackle?
I'm just still in the works, but I think fantasy is something I'm very interested in, especially with the Little Mermaid, the House of Dragons, and that Lord of the Rings, including, and then even the Percy Jackson having characters of color and having some of the backlash. I think that's the route that I want to take. Is like looking at fantasy and what does fantasy, you know, actually mean? Like, is it all white all the time and that's it? Does including black people make it so invalid, and why is that? So more than likely probably attacking some of the conversations surrounding fantasy and people of color in the fantasy realm.
Okay, all right. Shout out to all my night skins. They already know what's going on. And sir, excuse me, to be one of those butt-on boys, you know that black people were only invented in 1970s, and then we just lived from there. Like we weren't. You know, we weren't around back when the Vikings were around, or you know, we didn't.
Yeah, my mom wasn't born in 1960.
Right, you know, like we just showed up like, what's good? Here's rap, here's hip hop, and here's lean. So enjoy that.
Slavery.
You know? It's slavery, you know. Yeah, that's like what the fuck. Like, let me tell you, Ray, I get so mad about that because it's like, so you will believe all this shit about like, oh, magical creatures, but a black mermaid is just, which by the way, in the original Little Mermaid, there is a black mermaid just chilling, just swimming. So that's okay as long as it's not the main character. But then like even Lord of the Rings, like, so you believe like out of that whole like, so you believe elves, unicorns, and shit, but not a black elf. That just can't happen. Okay, like come on, man.
Yeah, even Hunger Games, Rue, who was described as a black girl. Even she made people upset by being. And she was a racially and fairly light skinned black girl. Like,
she was passing. She was passing, and they're still like, it's just too woke and ethnic. Like what? Like what?
Like
so, right? You know, so it's like, what do you want from me? Oh, so that's hilarious. And another thing I wanted to ask you. So I know you're more of a DC fan, right?
Marvel.
Okay. All right. My dog. Okay. Well, then I want to change the question. Being a Marvel person, because you know we come from that comic book era. Yes. How do you feel the MCU is going right now? Because I love it. I think the individuality is great. But you're getting a lot of people now, which people are never happy, but complain about She-Hulk. They're complaining about, you know, different things out there, like, oh, Miss Marvel's too what, which again, these are characters from the actual comic book. That's whatever. And I mean, all these like little complaints, the only one that's valid is that yes, Falcon can't fight. I don't know what's going on there, but you know, like everything else is just like, what are y'all doing? But how do you feel about the MCU so far in both like the films and how their cinematic universe works with the films, the shows? Because, you know, sometimes they even introduce major pop points in the shows. You're just like, oh my God, this means that, you know. So how do you feel about what they've been doing so far?
I think it's smart, regardless of how you feel. It feels like they have reinvented comics because now the MCU is Not as
Basically,
convoluted, but getting close to being as convoluted as actual comics.
And I told somebody that, not to cut you off, I told somebody
No,
that
you're
they
fine.
basically make MCU comics for people who don't read comics. That's all it's becoming. You know what I'm saying? So, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. And I don't know. I like it for what it's doing. I don't always like every part of it. I'm not a fan of Hawkeye, Clint Barton, specifically Jeremy Renner. But no. I think they're doing a pretty good job. I just wish there was more variety, and not necessarily like diversity variety. That's always good. But when it comes to the types of programming, because I feel like even though I do like She-Hulk, I feel like it fits very neatly in the MCU in a way that
it's safe, very safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I feel like this could have been a very gritty, hard, and not gritty like everything has to be dark and heavy, and we don't need like sexual assault type cases. It's not that, but I just feel like it could have been a little heavier. Now, that's not a critique on the show because She-Hulk is pretty lighthearted and break the fourth wall and whatnot. But I just feel like with all the shows that we're getting, I would love to see something like though I have issues with the New Mutants movie, I feel like it was an attempt at something very interesting within the comic universe. And I don't know that we'll get that because as much as folks may tout Multiverse of Madness as a horror film, it was not a horror film.
It was not.
I think New Mutants was more of a horror film than Multiverse of Madness. And I would love to see a dark, evil, true horror film with the comic book characters just as much as I like seeing that Captain America espionage spy story. Like
exactly, which they did really well of. Right.
So,
I totally agree with you because if you look at it, we really haven't had anything like dark and serious since really like WandaVision, which was totally dark. Loki, which was just kind of like okay, serious, but like it comes to a very valid point. And Captain America and the or Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like it was like a good buddy cop movie. It wasn't even like a so I agree with you. I think it is time for them to kind of step outside that range. Like I like what they did with Moon Knight because Moon Knight is more of a psychological think piece.
I thought that was pretty good. Yeah,
right, but it wasn't as heavy on the side as it could have been. Now they did get pretty dark in some areas, but I think they could have went a little bit dark, and I think that should be the next project for them. Is definitely go a little darker. Like I would have liked to have seen them kind of go Dark Thunderbolts from the Dark Thunderbolts, and then even go back in like Civil War, where they use the Thunderbolts as the watchdogs to go hunt down the superheroes. That would have been cool too. And I know Thunderbolts is coming out, but it's gonna be one of those like it's gonna be basically losers with Winter Soldier and like new White Widow instead of Black Widow. I can already feel that. Right, right. I can already feel that. Right, but I agree with you. I would love to see definitely a dark, like what they should do since they've already, and maybe Secret Invasion is what they're waiting on to be that dark, serious thriller. But since they've already done the what ifs, man, go ahead and call out. Do a full what if. Give me Age of Apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? Introduce the mutants that way. Don't even give me a storyline. Just put them in there. Man, put that in there. Just put a spin in there where like, okay, we see them. And like everything goes right for the mutants for like the first, movie or the first few like episodes. And then it's just like, all right, now Apocalypse took over and just show people how dark that shit got. With the concentration camps, the mutants, and because that would be really, really awesome. But I agree, like, because I like where they're going, and I like that they're still holding true to their characters. But I would like to see that because that's the only thing they haven't done. They've dipped their toes in most of all the genres except for horror, except for like a serious psychological thriller. And that would be a great way to be like, yo, look what we can do in the universe. So I agree with you. I definitely would like to see that.
Absolutely.
And go ahead and either give us that Deadpool series that we want, or give me that Deadpool series that my boy Donald Glover's gonna put out because that shit was gonna be amazing.
Listen, I was devastated when that didn't happen because
when they cut, I was like, he's a genius. Why are y'all doing this? Y'all seen Atlanta? You know, like, come on, man.
Right.
Oh,
get that
I love Atlanta.
Damn.
Man, that'd be so dope. And then okay, so that's my other question I wanted to ask. Because have you done a review on Atlanta yet?
No, Atlanta, much like with Insecure, for whatever reason, I came in it like a season too late. And I'm one who, because I do so many shows, I feel like I've paid my dues where I can slow down. Because
yes, you have. Yes,
there were times where I had 4 or 5 episodes a week. And
no, you did. I used to like the shows I was watching. I was like, Rhayne got a review. Oh, Rhayne got a review for that. Okay, I'm watching that show. You know, I was like, it was dope.
No, yeah. So that's one of the shows that I watch for my own enjoyment. Like just kind of take my time. And not to say that I wouldn't do anything in the future. It's just I consider it like a podcast version of like trade waiting versus like doing a weekly episode, waiting for at least 6 or 7 episodes, if not the full season to drop, and then doing a review. I'm trying to do that with certain projects, and I think Atlanta may be one of those where I'm just like, I can take notes throughout watching it, but I gotta relax.
You have to absorb that, bro. Like Donald Glover is a genius because it's just layers, like layers upon layers. Like I don't know if you're caught. Are you caught up with what's going on?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm like a season and a half behind. So no.
Okay, well I won't say anything, but bro, like. I will just beg you and say this: if you do like a Atlanta in review, please let me know, please, because like that is a me, you, and Cole Jackson thing, because you know he's a big fan of it too. He watches it.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And we comment back and forth on Twitter about it. So I would love to be on the review show for it because there's just so many layers to it. It's ridiculous, man. So many.
For sure.
I can't wait. All right, so my next question is this then. Is there a character you want to see in the Marvel Universe get their own show or movie?
Monet St. Croix. Yeah.
What? I mean, it's all of it's just right there. It's just like right there. Listen, the only person other than Jubilee that I think should get that is Monet St. Croix, like you just said. Yes. I want Bishop to get one, but I just know they won't do it right. But I want Bishop to get one. And of course Storm. But they gotta Storm, I'm so protective of. Like, they gotta get that right. Like, that's gotta be like if you can go back in time and get me Angela Bassett, cool. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, she can play it now. It's just she's already been in Wakanda and whatever. But like, like that's the only person I see so far. Other than that, I don't see anybody being able to play Storm because Storm is wonderful. She's like the perfect storm of everything. You know what I'm saying?
That's the perfect storm.
Perfect. I had to do it. You know. But yeah, I mean, Monet St. Croix, and then who else? Because like for me, Mana, like I just named them in Gambit. Add Gambit to that because I want Gambit in the externals or Gambit in the Thieves to kind of pop up. I kind of want that to happen.
Gambit should be a light-skinned man from New Orleans. Gambit should not be a white man. Now, I have nothing against him being white. I love me some Gambit. Remy LeBeau is a white man. I'm all for it. But I feel like live action, make him some light-skinned ass, Michael Ealy ass black man.
I was just about Michael Ealy from New Orleans. Yes.
Give me that. Like, give me a Creole ass nigga. Yes.
Give me that. Yeah. Man, can you imagine Michael Ealy sitting there at the bar? Playing with the cards.
So the way they take it so long to get the mutants, what is it? Solange's son, that little dude might be Gambit age by the time we get the mutants.
Let's go, baby. And I can totally see it because they've been campaigning for Keke Palmer to be Rogue. So you got her as Rogue and Michael Ealy as Gambit. Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready for that toxic relationship. Let's go.
Oh, that it is. No, you're absolutely right.
Man, that's okay. And that's like another thing. Me and you, we talked about this on Twitter. And I think that's gonna be my hill to die on. I always pick at least a few hills to die on every year. But John Boyega is Cyclops, right? All right. Stay with me. The guy from Breaking Bad is Xavier. We know he's confirmed.
Oh yeah, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, Giancarlo Esposito. Yes, him. And then the just top off the trifecta, Denzel Washington as Magneto. Come on, man. Look, what are we waiting on? Let's look.
I mean, since we doing it, I
Pete.
want his son. I want JD as Quicksilver, and then
Rhayne,
hey,
can you
I'm saying,
imagine
like,
the arguments? Because some of the real life arguments gonna bleed into it with John David Washington and this man, what? And it's like, son, I fought them for you. I fought those signals for you out there. You don't have to love me, but you damn sure gonna respect me. Man, what?
Man,
oh my god. Oh, heartbeat. Man,
hey, I'm with it.
Man. And then okay, here's my other question for you. Is there any other team that we haven't seen yet? Because of course they tried with the Runaways, but Hulu just didn't capitalize on that. Cloak and Dagger, we saw that. That was also just like, they weren't bad, they just didn't capitalize on them. They're just like, you're not connected to anything. And I'm like,
right.
I get that y'all think ever since we did Guardians of the Galaxy, we can make a hit out of anything, but like some characters just have to be latched on to others in order to make it. But is there any other of the, because you know as well as I do, because you're a huge Marvel fan, there are so many Marvel teams.
Man,
like, is there a Marvel team that you want to see that they haven't touched yet?
Generation X. Now that's a bit of a cop out because they did do a Generation X movie in the 90s. However, I feel like with that being a backdoor pilot that did not work out, that they turned into a movie
at all.
With the introduction of variants, I feel like Generation X is the one team that you can play around with, and they are very 90s. They're very grounded in grunge, hip hop, young, disillusioned teenage of a certain age before cell phones and internet got to be as big as they were. Like the last group before that shift was made, and I feel like they're different because you do have New Mutants who came before, and I feel like that would be a great team. However, with the body horror that is Generation X, you could very well do horror. You could very well set it in the 90s, and you can very much deal with just them alone and Emma Frost and Sean Cassidy as the headmasters, and you can have them so far removed from the Xavier school. You never need to reference Xavier. These kids didn't spend a lot of time with the X-Men proper. They were crossovers here and there. The Beast came, I think, was a professor. They ran into the Thing in like issue 6. They dealt with the Morlocks, Dark Beast, but all of that stuff, you could easily switch those characters out for someone else. But Generation X, that's
bro. Let me tell you, you hit that on the head. That'd be amazing. Because could you imagine? They finally give Jubilee, give her some justice. You know what I'm saying? But they can also make it to where, all right, cool. The first 2 movies, and then that's how you introduce the X-Men. But then the third movie, make the death of Generation X. And bruh, just where you see Banshee get shot through or whatever again, and all man, what? And then having to where Jubilee, that could be Jubilee's build up to her having to go to X-Men. And there you go. Then that springboards you into the whole X-Men trilogy right there, bro. Like, what? That'd be amazing. Amazing. And all they had to do is just introduce, because, we don't need introduction every single time now. Like, now you could just be like, hey, so here's Wolverine. All right, cool. We're going to go do this. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like, all right, let's give you a backstory. No, I don't need that. Fuck that. Put that shit out there and just go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That would be amazing. Because the only other team I think I want to maybe see is either Midnight Suns or maybe the Marvel Knights. You know what I'm saying? Maybe them. But Generation X, I'm behind you 2,000% on that, because they did in the comics, bruh, the fight with the Morlocks, the fight with, and that could be the whole premise, is that their whole thing was they were trying to go on this dangerous mission to stop whoever. It failed, and that's what the X-Men had to come in and kind of get revenge for their young team. Or they could do a build up to a possible second Civil War, and have it how the events of the first one actually happened. Have them go in and try to stop. What's the name of the team? The with Cannonballs on it, but he turned into the Pennants after. The team that set off the original Civil War in the comics. I forgot their name. but they were like a reality TV show.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about
yeah.
Oh no, with that guy who vomits like acid.
Yeah, they had like I forgot the name of it. Now I wanna look. Like, let me see. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Yeah,
but it's it was crazy because imagine doing a movie and that's the premise, and you have what basically every every Tony Stark nightmare situation actually happened, to where it's just like, oh shit, like this is what happened. Like I told y'all this is going to happen, and then you gotta have who's left over, which is the New Warriors. That's have Generation X go in and stop the New Warriors, and then it fails, and that's how you have the school explosion happen. That'd be awesome. That would be dope.
Marvel.
Man. Holla at us. I ain't doing nothing right. Come on, let's go, baby. I'll write for y'all. Just pay me the money. I got you. Man. No. All right. Here's one other question I have for you. Now, growing up, because you're into a lot of nerd stuff, what was your favorite, I guess, comic book that also kind of just got you like hooked into comics? Like, what was just like, that was it, done?
Oh no, I truly think it was, and I'm not even a Spider-Man fan, but I think it was Spider-Man. So I remember being at a book, what was it called? Not a book fair. Elementary school. What do you call those things where we like just stayed in and read all day? It wasn't a lock-in because it was like during school hours, but it was like this like book. I'm from the Midwest. This is like book.
Oh, cool. Because we call it a book fair, where you like go through and you buy like little books and you buy the little card.
We had that, but this was something different. But I remember being a kid, being there with all of my like little novels, but like a stack of comic books, and there was one issue of Spider-Man. Mary Jane had on like a green nightgown, and it was like so dark. Like they were arguing about something. It was a very moody issue.
Most of the Spider-Man comics were.
Listen, and something about that just felt, this is so corny. It felt like home. I was like, oh, this you can tell these stories. Like this is, and I was a kid. Like, and when I say elementary, I switched elementary schools once or twice. This was my first school, so this was before 4th grade. Like I was little, and so I remember like reading these comics. I was like, no, and it wasn't like, oh, they're having sex. It wasn't anything graphic. It was just a comic from back.
No, it's just like real problems, because and it's funny, bro. A lot of people don't understand. Like when you read comics and when they're not like out fighting, like they deal with some real issues. Like I think that was one of the ones where like Peter and her were married, and he was like trying to balance being a superhero, and then that didn't work out, and he still had the villains, but she's like, yo, we gotta pay these bills. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
like, I'm trying.
Yes.
It was rough, man, because like when you deal with that, like Peter goes through a lot, and I think it was because he was because Stan Lee always felt like he wanted to internalize him as the people, but like it was so sad because there were so many issues where like the one where he was mutating and he was gonna die, like it was just so many like parts where he was just, it wasn't even like, oh, I feel myself becoming like an aggressive hero. The parts where he's just sitting there and just like, what am I gonna do about Aunt May? How am I gonna tell Aunt May that I'm dying? You know what I'm saying? How am I gonna tell blah 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 that I'm not gonna be there? And it was just so sad. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, so yeah. That's a good one to start. I think I've read that comic before. I just can't remember the name of it. But like I remember those comics. I remember Spider-Man having moody ones. I remember X-Men dealing with a lot of like just dark shit. You're just like, wow, they're not even fighting someone. This is just dark. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, think about what's going on right now in Krakoa. Like just what they're going through with the humans, and the humans are still hunting them down. It's still. They're like, hey, we're on our own planet / island where we can just recreate anybody. We not fucking with y'all. The first thing the humans are like, we gotta go in there and kill Professor X again, y'all. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. We gotta kill him.
I'll be black in America.
That's we have our own. Imagine y'all, if you've never like read Krakoa before, right? You got, first off, please go read that because it's amazing. But just imagine if all the black people just moved to an island that's as big as like maybe New York or like Staten Island from New York, and we just left everybody the fuck alone. The first thing they would do is like, all right, so we're gonna send the Klan over. We're gonna kill a few people, and just go ahead and kill Martin Luther King while you're over there. Kill him. If Malcolm X is there, he's a little violent too. Go ahead and take him out. And that's what it is in Krakoa, because like they're just bringing back everybody. And everybody's peaceful. They're like, oh, what are we eating? Some protein on the thing, but yeah, you can turn it into anything you want. And it's just like, okay. And literally, the first thing you see is the humans trying to just get in there, like, hey, how we get to Krakoa? And it's just like, leave us alone, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're not wrong. That's wild, man.
It is. So, okay, and you mentioned, I don't like you mentioned that because that's true. This is that's the X-Men. It's just us. It's black people just trying to go get a piece of bread from the store, trying to go whatever. In that dynamic, how do you feel? Because I feel like that's still kind of present in today's society as well, as much as we've evolved. How do you feel about that dynamic in today's society? Like the X-Men representing diversity or representing people of color?
Now I think it's lazy. Because
right.
Where do you see the X-Men are white? Back in the 60s, okay, I get it. Make this team of able-bodied white folks stand in for civil rights and whatever. But no, X-Men are overwhelmingly white. There is, of course, there's mutants of color, but like
sprinkled in.
Give me a full team that is not Marvel Girl, Cyclops, and like an assortment of other historical whites. I don't care. I think they've moved away from the original analogy, and I'm okay with it evolving to be something else. But with the plight of black, and I'll even say black and brown people in America, I just don't think there's enough stories told from that perspective and with those characters. Like, it's one thing to have a full black creative team or a POC creative team on a book, but when every character is Marvel Girl and Polaris and
a mantle of Spider-Man, a mantle of Falcon. I'm like, why the fuck did Miles Morales need to be Falcon? But I'm sorry, I digress. Go ahead. Or Thor. Don't forget about the Thor comic they made, where he was just graffiti and
Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know, but comics are in this weird space where it's like, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm disillusioned or anything, but it's like there's a lot that's left to be desired. And there's a lot to enjoy. And I do understand that everything is not going to please everyone. So even though there are things that I don't like, they're for someone. It may not be for me, but they're for someone. But I just feel like with this fight and pushback against all things diverse, it's so easy to fall back into the same arguments, but like have no real change. I also think it's really important to support indie comics and indie creators who are telling those stories. Because my thing is, everyone should be able to tell their story. I think right before that reality TV star became president, there was like 2 or 3 comic books on the shelves that were about him. I looked through them, and that was some like phenomenal art. Like when I was like, I know this is not for me. But when I'm looking through this book, the art, great, the colors, great. It was a really good book. As far as like structurally a book, what a book should look like, it just wasn't for me. So I try not to get too upset about the lack of blackness in certain spaces, but like when you look on the shelves as a whole and you see a sea of whiteness, or you see a sea of like just brown enough that this character is like racially ambiguous, or they like to do to us is make it a actual like Crayola color. Oh, this person's green, or this person's blue, or this person, but
he started black, but he's actually orange. And it's like, okay, all right.
You see all of that all day. It's like, I'm to the point now where like I'm gonna read what I enjoy. But if you're going to give me a story that's a stand-in for the plight of any marginalized community, black, brown, handicapped, queer or whatever, then I need to see the creative team and the characters on the panel reflecting that, and not in this very surface way where, hi, I'm handicapped, I'm in a wheelchair, this is my issue. No, let a motherfucker who was actually in a wheelchair write this story. So what is a issue they have that me being able-bodied I don't even consider? Make me confront my privilege.
And it's crazy you say that, Rhayne, because that's just like every time you go somewhere like Comic-Con or some shit and you see a panel on diversity. And what do you see? What do you see on the panel? Fucking diversity. Oh, irony itself. All white people. And you're just like, yo, you cannot say, oh, it's a panel for diversity. We're going to explain how we're just so diverse. And yet, I don't see one person that looks like me on the stage. You know what I'm saying? Or if it is one of anyone that's us, that's a person of culture or, color, it's like you said, very like, hey, I'm just kind of here. I don't really do anything. I was in the broom closet when they found me, but I'm here,
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's some good representation out there, but I just think as a whole, if you're going to have a comic that has that big of an order to stand in as the representation of like X group in the plight of that group, I feel like it should be highlighted. Like, for one, if I can rant for a second, I feel like Bishop and his sister Shard should be some of the most important characters in Marvel Comics. The fact that you tell for the future where the world is going to shit.
They never talk about them. Like, never. Unless he's a part of a storyline, they don't care.
There we go. Like, I feel like those two should be just as, if not more important than Scott and Jean. Like, there's like, because for Cable to be, Cable has got a young version, Cable has got an old version, Cable has gotten several comics. Like, what? How the hell are all of these from the future, but yet Cable is the prodigal son? He's the golden child. You got Bishop's Aboriginal ass right there, and his sister who you killed off panel, but like she hasn't popped up at all. Like, bro, come on. These two, and plus the St. Croix family, not again, these motherfuckers should be more important or just as important as the Scott and Jean family. Implate is in the same future that Bishop hails from. Implate, who is the older brother of Monet St. Croix. Like, he's in that future with Gambit as well. Like, how are they not? That family's bloodline has made it that far. Implate has survived that long into the future. Man, come on.
And it's crazy because, and it's funny you say that because that's just like, remember the Ultimate Avengers team they had where it was all black. I was just like, hey, you saw, you know what they gave us? They gave us typical maybe 4 or 5 comics. So like, all right, that's enough of that. But you had like Blue Marvel, you had Black Panther, you had War Machine, you had all those people on one team. Spectrum, American Chavez, Spectrum.
You had Carol.
And Carol, but
she was the token. She was the token.
She was the token because at the time she was dating War Machine, so they're like, all right, bring her home. But like, it's crazy, bro, because we hadn't even seen Spectrum in like forever. They just decided like, hey, bring Spectrum back. You know what I'm saying? And like, they only gave them like a 5 comic, and it was such a good comic, and it made me so mad because I was like, I'm never gonna see this team again, never. Because like, you had like the genius minds of Blue Marvel and fucking like Black Panther, which people don't understand how smart Black Panther really is. Absolutely. And it was cool to see that, you know what I'm saying? But man, like, I agree with you. Like, Bishop has had so much happen to him. It would be lovely to see a Bishop saga or storyline where it just focuses on his time jumps and the whole, how he got his whole quote unquote time madness to like, hey, like actually coming back from that and just realizing, all right, let me go back to the future and let me do this, let me do that. You know what I'm saying? It would be nice to see the Gambit that he saw, you know what I'm saying? Not just see it in like every so often comic panel or what if, but actually see like just this evil ass Gambit that's like, nah, I'm a horseman of apocalypse. I'm here to destroy shit. You know what I'm saying? And I agree with you. Like, I just, and that's one of the things like that influenced me and inspired me to like make an RPG where it's just a bunch of black people just to show, and not just a bunch of us, but just a bunch of every color and race and creed, but have us in like that majority stance where people see that we can be more than just, because that's the problem. We've been pushed as one type of commodity, because that's what you are when you're out here in Hollywood in these streets for so long. And when they see that we're into different things and they see that it's just like a shock to them, they don't know how to register it. So they're just like, well, no, we're just going to keep pushing this because this is how it's always been. It's like, no, it's okay to see black people as a different type. We don't have to be that monolith. We don't have to be one monotone or one monochrome of like color. We're a different spectrum out here, man. Like, you know, so embrace that weird. So
I agree.
I agree with you on that one. I agree. All right, so one of the questions I forgot to ask, right, is what inspires you to do, because you do such amazing work. I can't talk enough about your work, sir. What inspires you to do Carefree Black Nerd? Like how you do it and just the subject matter you pick up for it. Like what inspires that for you? Or what inspired you to go into that?
Just the lack of representation. I felt like with all the Marvel movies and comic book movies in general that were being made, and again seeing a lot of white faces on the shelves every week, I felt like if people don't know about these characters, then what you don't know about can be changed. And I feel like if people were more aware of these black characters, these POC characters, these disabled characters, these characters of different religions and whatnot, that they stand a better chance of being put on screen, which means that you have a person, a real human person who is gay, who is black, who is a woman, who is gay. If they could get those roles, give them those roles. I shouldn't look at the Avengers and see all these damn white people. I shouldn't see that. I
Still,
see
the Great Lakes Avengers, you know.
Like, and I mean, if you want to do comic accurate, that's all fine and good. But then my question to you, you being you, the royal you, is like, where are the stories for these people who are not in these books? And then also, why weren't these people in these books? Think about that. Like when you look at comics and where they started and all these characters that have been created, even the ridiculous ones, like there's a black woman that's like a Confederate flag toting cowgirl or something. Like even with her, if we're so adamant about make your own characters, this and that, shine light on her so that now that ridiculous ass character can then be translated to something on screen and some black woman can get that check. And also that's somebody who's lesser known enough that you can now work your Marvel magic and make it so that this story makes no sense.
If they can make fucking Killmonger charismatic, and we read the code, we know how much of an asshole racist motherfucker that motherfucker was, they can do that with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because it was so funny when people saw Black Panther. They're like, "Oh my god, Killmonger was right." I was like, if y'all would read the comics, you would be saying this shit about Killmonger because that motherfucker was an asshole. You know what I'm saying? But I agree with you. I think that push for representation hasn't been pushed enough. And like anytime, like, you know, like what we're seeing right now with the Little Mermaid, which is just stupid because she's black, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's too woke." Like, it's crazy to me because when we're in your space, it's a problem. But then even when we go off and create our own space, it's a problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's the Krakoa conundrum to where it's just like you don't want us, but you don't want anybody else to have us, and you do want us. But you just don't want to see us in certain places. You don't want to kiss us in public, but you want to kiss us in bed. And it's just like, come on, man, like do something. You know what I'm saying? So it's insane. But I totally agree with you. I totally fucks with you on that one. Like you got to push for that, and you know that's what I try to do with my games and my stories, and I'm pushing for that. Like because I want that in the forefront. I want people to stop thinking like, "Oh man, y'all can only do The Wire and that's it." Like, nah, man, we can be in space too. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like we can be in Star Wars. There can be more than one Black Jedi. I promise you, it will not fuck up anything. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I want more of that. So I agree with you on that one. I agree. Also, too, let me ask you this: what is you think like probably the moment that you're just like, yo, you know what? I'm proud to be a black nerd. Like, what do you think? And I mean, it might be your own work, you know what I'm saying? When you're sitting there working on so you're like, you know what? I like that I'm a black nerd talking about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is there a moment that happened for you? Where you're just like, you know what? I love my black nerdiness.
That happened early on, even before like my podcast. My podcast is, I think, coming up on 7 years now, something like that. I don't know, 6.5. Thank you.
My God, we out here
Man,
grinding.
but no, it was
We're gonna see Rhayne out here doing reviews on podcasts like it's like the nerd plate, and am I eating this week? You know what I'm saying? It's just like the Rhayne just review my show,
damn. No, bro. No, no. I don't know, but I think it was much earlier than that because I don't know. I've always been into these things. Like it wasn't until I got older and stepped away and kind of got like fell into the rat race of life when I saw I was like unhappy with a lot of things, and I sat down and wrote out all the things that make me happy. A lot of it was from my childhood, and so I guess I could say that in my early-ish 20s, where I had to like sit down and really come to terms with like things aren't going your way.
Right.
What makes you happy? Well, being a kid watching cartoons, being able to go to these, like go to the skating rink with my cousins on the weekend, like these little things that like if I could just translate them to being an adult, which is where the podcast came from,
right,
that would make me more happy. So I would say if I'm going to give a definitive answer, it probably was back then when I like stepped away from comics, went off to college, and like life started whooping my butt. I had good times in there too, but it was like, no, you're an adult now. That time where I was like, okay, this ain't working. Something needs to change. And I fell in love with comics all over again. So it had to be like my early to mid 20s. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. Okay. Cool. Cool. And I salute you on that because I agree with you. I think as we grow older, and I think that's why I'm such a huge gamer because you know when I was a kid, like I was just so happy, and that's probably the last bastion because I was the same way. I was just like, yo, I'm just going through like deep depression in high school, and I was just like, yo, like the only thing that really keeps me going sometimes is video games, my love for them, and just you just remember how much fun you have when you're just sitting there playing. And you know, my family used to play as a family, so like I remember being in the living room with like all my cousins, and we're all playing like Mega Man 2, you know what I'm saying? On my grandma's like big TV that was like a TV and a big desk at the same time, you know what I'm saying? So it was just, she was playing on the big TV. That was a big thing in our house, you know, and it was just so cool. And so to see that wonderful art just evolve like makes me happy. And I mean, I have my ups and downs with it, much like anyone else with their hobby. But you know, I still love that video games are so entrenched in everything now. You know, because as much as I joke about it and how like everybody's posers now, it's funny because I called this when I was a kid. You know, like when I was a kid, I was just like, I'm telling you guys, video games can be everything. And they was just, oh my god, it's all you do. Some video game, shut up. And now it really is. Like my mom used to tell me like, hey, put your like Game Boy down, let's go do this. And now I have to tell her like, hey, mom, we're in the doctor's office. Come on, put your cell phone down. We're about to go. You know, you know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, man. So I agree with you when you talk about. I think it is. I think it's part of that is that nostalgia, and the other part is that feeling that'll never leave you when you love something like that. You know.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
Man, I agree. I totally agree on that one, man. Totally. Well, Mr. Rhayne, so I'm not going to keep you for much longer because I started late and I apologize about that. That's on me. I was a typical black person. But before we leave out, I got two more questions for you. So the first thing, that's right. I was on that CPT time, boys. Heavy. It's work, man. You know what it is. So my first of the last two questions is, three. My bad. Three. So the first one is, Rhayne Coleman, if you're like in a restaurant and you can have a meal named after you, right? What would it be? Since this is like your first time, not the first time on the show because you've been on with us before, but this is your first time in your first interview about you. What would like that main course be about?
There's a dish that I had in Atlanta. I'm trying to remember, but I remember going out, and it was a really fancy restaurant, and it was so basic, but the way they prepared it was so good. I don't know. I don't know the name of the dish, but it was this fish that was baked.
Okay.
Fish.
Okay.
On top of this, like bed of rice, but the rice was like this garlic, Parmesan. I do not know, but that meal has stuck with me for so long. And I don't know if it's just the meal was that great or if it was like I was out with all these great people. We were dressed up, trying to be grown, freshmen in college. But something about that meal has stuck with me where like it cannot be reproduced. But if it could, it would have to be that. Like this just big ass piece of fish. And it was like the preparation, the way it was presented was just so beautiful. And I was like, why is this so good? So I don't know. It would have to be that. I'm gonna just say fish and rice because I don't remember like what it was called.
So it would be like the Rhayne Coleman garlic Parmesan, like salmon and rice. Is that what it is?
That sounds good to me because that just either my palate was just unrefined or that shit was just good. Like, I don't know.
Was that where you're like pinkies up on that one? Like
absolutely,
that was delicious.
And yes, oh my God.
Okay,
so good,
that's what's up, man. Okay, so okay, cool. I'm gonna make a note of that. And then my other question for you is, of course, I always ask this question for everybody that comes to the show. Do you have any questions for us here at the Nerd Plate? Just it's open form. You can ask whatever. So
what are y'all doing? Like in general, no, I'm saying like, what are you doing? Like, what if Stan Lee says he wrote his comics so that every comic could be someone's first comic. If this is the first episode that somebody lands on, and this is clearly not focused on y'all, what are y'all doing? What is the Nerd Plate?
Man, the Nerd Plate is just this awesome two black guys, two black nerds, man, just sitting down having this conversation, and we want people to just come in on the conversation. And so we're out there, we're having these conversations, and these are conversations that, you know, me and Chris would have just like at the store at GameStop, you know what I'm saying, when we were working. But also, too, it's a place where I want all nerds of all colors and creeds to just feel welcome and nurtured, you know what I'm saying? It's just like nothing's taboo. Anything you want to talk about, let's put it on the table, you know, like let's talk about it. And so that's what we set out to do. And like, 6 years later, catching up to you, you know what I'm saying? Like we're still here. And so I think there's a space for that. And I want everybody to enjoy that. So I think that's the biggest thing. Is like when we talk about it, we get on and we crack jokes about ourselves. We talk about food because we're always hungry. But like we also talk about the game space and just in true nerd fashion, we invite everybody to the table to talk with us. So I think that's what we're doing when we're out here, talking about the Nerd Plate and talking about, the stuff that we have on here. Is that I just want people to enjoy it and just be able to be like, no, Rockman, you're wrong. I'm going to see this email because Cole Jackson can tell you, like, he does that all the time. You know what I'm saying? He's just like, you are wrong. Or he'll call me and be like, hey, fuck you, man. Let me tell you about your show.
That sounds just like it.
You're right. And I love it because I love that's my brother. And like, I love that. I welcome that from him because like he just has very good viewpoints, and I always make fun of him, but he does. He has very because he'll tell me something like, you know what, Cole Jackson, I didn't think of that before, and he's like, yeah, you sitting up there talking about this, because let me tell you that if you ever want to get him heated, have a completely different opinion about music because he's such a purist about music, and he goes because we joked about one time on here, we joked about Kendrick Lamar having the crowd or whatever, and he just and I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. I love Kendrick Lamar. And like Cole Jackson just went off. He's like, that motherfucker doing something creative. Y'all sit up here making fun of him. Fuck y'all. He's like, what's everybody else doing for their stuff? And I'm just like, no, you man. Like, listen, you got a big fella. I love Kendrick Lamar. I was saying the crowd was a little much, but hey,
you got a big fella.
You got it. You got it. You know.
Oh my God, yeah.
But that's what we want, man. Yeah, he is. I'm gonna try to get him on the show because I would love to interview just Cole Jackson. But yeah, man, that's what we want to do here at Nerd Play. We just want people to have fun and come out and talk about dirty shit with us. You know, that's what we set out to do. So
yeah, man, that sounds good. Y'all doing it?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. And we definitely gonna get you back on, especially when we start talking about the MCU stuff, because we still got a lot to say about some of the other stuff that they're about to do, especially Secret Invasion and all that.
Man.
And then we gotta get y'all just for some video games too, man, because I'd love to hear your opinion about certain. I don't know if you game a lot, like but that's all right. We'll get you in. We'll get you in. It's cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Okay. Good. That's pretty much it, man. I just again want to thank you so much for coming on, Rhayne. I really appreciate you, brother. And of course, just before you go, because I know you're a busy man, just tell people where they can see you once again. Tell them about any of the new shows you got out right now, so they can go check that out. By the time we put this out, maybe a little bit of time passed, but like tell them what else they can look for. Let them know where they can get a daily dose of the Rhayne Coleman experience.
Yeah, no doubt. One, thanks for having me on. I do sincerely appreciate it. This has been fun. Twitter and TikTok, Carefree Blur. Those are probably the most immediate ways you can get in touch with me. Carefree Black Nerd everywhere else, and of course on BYNK Radio. Shaking stuff up, doing stuff over there. I have reviews coming. I took a little bit of a break, and depending on where this falls, I'll probably have had episodes come out or just be starting like pumping them out again. But yeah, I'm trying to kind of go strong and end out the year strong with episodes and conversations about blackness and all types of nerd spaces, man.
Good, man, because we need that out there. We need that out in the streets. Oh, and before you go, I did have one more question. What do you want to see more of in our black nerd culture and like basically in the black nerd community? Like, what do you want to see more?
Some of everything. I want to see more camp. I want to see more black vampires. I want to see, black fantasy. I want to see even mixed race people telling actual stories that do not revolve around just them being mixed race. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I want to see some dark.
I'm racially ambiguous. The end. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. So I just want to see a lot of blackness, black stories being told from black perspectives, and I want different types of black. Give me a black girl who's an amputee, who's a vampire, who can walk the walls. Give me different combination of things that we can have before. Hell, give me just a simple black rom-com. Like give me the simplest to the most convoluted, confusing everything. Give me all of that.
I just came up with this. We're gonna write this. We're gonna sell it to Hollywood, but we're gonna write a story about a black girl who becomes a succubus demon. Not even that, she just become a regular demon.
Okay.
In order to save her family and saves people, but she's still a demon. And at the end of it, she reigns her own little territory in hell.
Okay. Hey, I want all of that. That's a story that needs to be told. Give me that.
And just like make her this great anti-hero, but at the end she's still a demon. You know what I'm saying? That would be so dope. You know what I'm saying? So dope.
You cooking with grease now, man. You cooking with grease.
Hey, look, Netflix will come running. We got it.
No, for real.
That's what's up, man. That's awesome. So, Rhayne, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you for coming on the show. You've been amazing. Anytime you come through, I'm always excited because I got like another comic book fan that I can comic book out with on top of just a black nerd, period. Because, Rhayne, listen, y'all, I'm telling y'all got to watch his review shows because Rhayne would be saying some shit. You just be like, like you just be like, did Rhayne just drop a whole bowl of knowledge on me? I don't know what to do. a whole mountain. You got the whole Kryptonite mountain just dropping this knowledge on people. You just be like it's some man, some of the shit y'all be saying be so insightful. I'm just like they really thought this through. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause the Black Lightning, and I didn't even see all Black Lightning, but I saw the Black Lightning match. I was just like, that was hilarious. Like these dudes be killing it. Cause boy, when y'all talk about going into was it from season 2 to season 3, y'all just like. That was just fantastic, bro, because y'all just gave such a great review. So for all your review needs, y'all gotta go check out my boy Rhayne, because Rhayne, you're phenomenal, man. So I appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, and you always have a 1-way to 2-way round trip way ticket up here on the Nerd Play to be like, yo, come kick it with us. Anytime you want to crash the episodes, more than welcome, man. More than welcome.
All right. Well, shoot, I do appreciate it. Shit, come on down. We can make something shake, but I do appreciate it, man.
You know what we gotta do too before you go, and this is hilarious, is that one day we gotta do a review, and we gotta get. I feel like we have to get everybody on this. We even might have to bring Shogun up back, but just talk about, is Jordan Peele really a genius, or is he just missing? You know, because. Bruh, one of my buddies that I had on before you got on the interviews, on the interview slot, like he was up. I think he's either before you or after you. He talked about Nope, and he was just like, "I'm not watching that." You know, I was just like, "Damn, is it?" He's like, my sister told me about it. It's stupid. I don't want to know. I was just like, man. So and I'm gonna have to see it for myself, because the Get Out was, of course, I think that was more overwhelmingly positive for everybody. Then us was just kind of like like some people liked, some people didn't. Like I liked it, but some people obviously didn't. And then with this one, everybody's just down the middle, like I don't know, or I don't like that shit, you know. So it's I would love to see your take one day of just sitting down and analyzing the Jordan Peele movies, being like, I don't know, man, I don't know. Like, and that's another question I should have asked you. Like, how do you feel about Jordan? Do you think Jordan Peele is the genius, or do you just think he misses more than he hits?
See, I would have to wait, because I haven't seen Nope either. I would have to wait and watch Nope first. I think that's an interesting conversation to have, especially with Black or mixed race, however you categorize him. But having someone who does speak to a Black experience, I would want to watch Nope in its entirety. Actually, rewatch all of his movies first,
right?
And then maybe have.
Because you would have to even put Candyman in there, right? Because he did Candyman.
Yeah, he did, and I mean, he also did the Twilight Zone, a few episodes. Or no, he executive produced. I think that. Did he direct? I don't know, but yeah, I think you would have to. And his body of work isn't so huge that you couldn't knock it all out in like a day or two. So
right.
Yeah, I would have to watch Nope for sure. And I saw. Did I watch the new Candyman? I don't think I did watch the new one.
I don't think I did either. I need to watch that myself. And you know what? I need to do that soon, because I want to do a comparison. Because funny story, he was on. Excuse me, and I think he's on his podcast, but he was on the podcast with Hideo, because Hideo Kojima has his own podcast now.
Okay.
So I think they did like a teleconference, and I'm just like, what do those two weird motherfuckers, what kind of ingenious things are they going to come up with? Are they going to come up with the Metal Gear Get Out? What's going to happen? Like, I'm with it. Whatever's going to happen, I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? Because Hideo Kojima can almost do no wrong. And I played Death Stranding, which I still don't know what the fuck that's about. But, like, I'm with, so I got to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So I would love to see, like, a Rhayne Coleman presents Jordan Peele, like, I
might have to do that, because I need to. Before his filmography gets to be too large.
Right.
Yeah, I think I might have to do that, actually. Oof. Lord.
Look. First one on the view. I will put that on my premiere list on YouTube. Be like, ready? Let's go.
All right.
Look, and then like just put Cole Jackson on there, and it like you Cole, like I don't even want to be on it, just because I just want to see what everybody's gonna say, and I'm just gonna be sitting there with popcorn. I gotta watch this. it could be 5 hours. I'd be like, okay, I need to do this. I need an off day. Yeah, let's go. What's happening? You know, it's like, because I think you would give a really good review of that, and what you would have to say about it would probably be interesting. Because, yeah, like I think that's the only two I've seen of his, like Get Out and Us. I've seen Twilight Zone. I've seen like almost all the episodes. But yeah, I would have to go through his catalog as well. But like, yo, if you ever do that, man, please let me know. I already have you set to like, you know, hey, anytime you drop some, you know, I'll subscribe and be like, yo, what is it happening? But yo, that right there, that'd be amazing.
All right, put that on the list. Might be popping up.
Yes. Can't wait. Yeah. But again, Rhayne, thank you so much, man. I'm not gonna hold you any longer, man. I appreciate you so much, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to everyone at home that's watching and listening to this. Just want to tell you guys, of course, you can see us anywhere. The Nerd Plate, that's Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. You can even see us, you know, on TikTok, which I'm just like, but I'm hearing people are liking it, so I'm like, okay. But you know, the Nerd Plate there. Just, you know, shout out to all our people on Patreon and anyone who's like listening to us, been listening to us for years. Thank you so much. Of course, you can always send comments and emails to the nerdplaypodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what we're doing wrong or right. You already know. But again, just want to say thank you so much to my boy, Rhayne Coleman. And until next time, the Carefree Black Nerd that he is, he'll be on. We're going to see him again. Don't worry. I was trying to capture him away from BYNK, get him back on our show. But, you know, just again, I'm Rockman 3K3, guys. And this has been a great interview with Rhayne Coleman. We out. See y'all next time.